Hey, what's going on everybody? Today I wanted to talk about what I think is the best team to use in Scarlet and Violet. So this is your in-game team, and keep in mind please that this video is completely opinion based. You can ultimately use whatever you like, whatever you think you're going to have the most fun with. This is just my opinion. You could change literally anything and you'll be fine. But yeah, to get into it, I think personally that the best starter in the game is Fuecoco, which ultimately turns into Skeledirge. So why do I think this Pokemon is so great as a starter? It's because this Pokemon can act as a tank and a sweeper at the same time. And that's because of its fantastic bulk. I mean, it's got 100 defense, 75 special defense, 104 HP, but also its great signature move, Torch Song. And what this does, if you do not know, it is a stab fire move. It's 80 special power, and it has a 100% chance to raise your special attack by 1. So think of something like Volcarona using Fiery Dance, getting that boost, but this gets the boost every single time, guaranteed. So, you know, you use this a couple of times and you're already great. 110 special attack stat, it just goes through the roof. So, you know, you can sweep with this. You are super bulky. You could pop some leftovers on this. If you're lucky enough to be able to get the egg move, this gets slack off for recovery. I mean, I don't think you'd be able to use the hidden ability, but it gets unaware too, which just makes it really tanky. Although for an in-game team, I'm sure you'd probably just be using Blaze the whole time. So that being said, another great stab move that you can get for Skeledirge, thanks to its ghost typing, is Shadow Ball. And I mean, not much else to say about Shadow Ball. It's a 80 base power special ghost move. You also get that 20% chance to lower the special defense by 1 stage, which is super nice. And I think I would just run this for primary ghost stab on Skeledirge. But it also gets access to utility moves like Will-O-Wisp, which is great because if you don't know, when your opponent's burned, they do half of their normal physical damage, which is really cool if you're trying to tank some hits, set up some torch songs. It just makes for, you know, great setup, great utility. They take damage every turn. It's really just like a win-win-win. Skeledirge is so good. And then with Will-O-Wisp, you could run it alongside Hex, which pretty much the same thing as Shadow Ball, but the power doubles if your target has a status condition. So it's a little weaker than Shadow Ball if your target doesn't have a status like burn, poison, sleep, paralysis, whatever. But if they are statused, this has a base power of 130, which is pretty ridiculous, especially if you power that up with some torch songs. So, I mean, Skeledirge is really great for, especially in the early game. There's a bug gym, there's a grass gym, later on there's ghost, there's ice, or psychic, and there's even a steel type titan in this game, with Skeledirge just kind of cleans up super easily. So this Pokemon just all around has excellent bulk, excellent utility. It can sweep through teams super easily with Torch Song. You don't really need to worry too much about your setup. It just kind of happens on its own. And then, you know, if you just want to use this to eat some hits, burn some opponents, you got Will-O-Wisp. So for those reasons, I think Skeledirge is the best starter in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Alright, so next on our team we have another bulky Pokemon in Clodsire. And Clodsire is really cool. You can get him super early in the game as Paldean Wooper. And it synergizes very well with Skeledirge because Skeledirge is kind of more physically defensive. It could eat up those physical hits relatively easily, but it kind of struggles on the special defensive side, especially with like water moves that it's weak to. And Clodsire was pretty much designed to take those special hits, and especially water moves, because it has access to the ability Water Absorb, which gives it an immunity to water, and it also gets health back when it's hit with a water move. So it kind of forms a good defensive core with Skeledirge in that kind of way. And you could even get a little bit more health back using the item Black Sludge, which is pretty easy to get, and it's pretty much just a poison type leftovers. If you're poison type, it restores your health, and if you give it to a Pokemon that's not poison type, it actually takes damage. And this item's actually really cool and competitive because if something tries to use Trick or something on Clodsire, it takes damage. But this is an in-game team, so we're not really worried about that. But some good moves for Clodsire: it learns Earthquake, which is always a great stab choice for ground types. It's one of the most powerful moves in the game. And Clodsire gets it, so we're going to slap that on there. It'd be silly not to. And I guess just for some Poison Stab, you can do Poison Jab, and that actually has a 30% chance to poison your target. So you could do damage, get a poison off, you know, do that chip damage. And it's just really great to have this on your team for some utility to kind of wall some Pokemon that you wouldn't normally be able to beat. And for those reasons, another good move to carry is Toxic. Which, I know we already have Poison Jab, but this is a guaranteed poison every turn. The damage stacks, and you could just kind of wall things with Toxic and recover. So, overall, Clodsire is just a really good special wall. It's got a great typing, it's got 2 immunities in Electric and Water, and it pairs very well with Skeledirge. And on top of that, you can get this super early, add it to your team, and it'll be very good on your journey. Alright, so now that Clodsire is on the team, I've noticed that we have 2 Pokemon that are weak to ground moves, so I wanted to add a flying type to this team. And also, this team is really slow as it sits right now, so I decided that a good member would be Kilowattrel. And this is another new Pokemon in Generation 9 with 2 decent abilities. It's got Wind Power, which charges its electric moves when it's hit with a wind move or Tailwind, which is really cool. And it also has Volt Absorb, which is the same as Water Absorb on Clodsire, except it's for electric moves instead of water. So this Pokemon has a really good typing in electric and flying. It's got that ground immunity that I was talking about, and it's pretty much just like a budget Zapdos, more or less. But the moves I would run on this are Thunderbolt for stab, and Thunderbolt's also great for taking out water types, which would threaten Skeledirge. It can run Air Slash, which is just more stab. It's good against, you know, fighting, grass, just a lot of Pokemon you would run into typically on your journey. I would run Roost for recovery, and I would run Volt Switch for pivoting, which will actually be very useful later on. So this Pokemon just has a very good speed stat, it's got a very good special attack, and it'll do a lot of work on your team, and will kind of act as a fast special sweeper. So the reason why pivoting was so important with Kilowattrel is because the next member of our team is Palafin. And this Pokemon's got a really cool ability called Zero to Hero, and it actually changes forms when it swaps out of battle and then it's brought back in. So using moves like Volt Switch to pivot is really great when using Palafin, because you could just switch out, use Volt Switch, and then you could bring Palafin back in to activate its ability. And its ability is really cool because once it's activated, Palafin has a base attack stat of 160, which is up there with legendary Pokemon. So this thing is just really powerful. It pairs really well with Kilowattrel, and it'd be kind of a mistake not to use it on your Gen 9 team. So this also gets a signature move called Jet Punch, which makes it even better because it's a priority water move, and it's base 60 power. And if you wanted to, you could even pair it with the brand new item, the Punching Gloves, which it's pretty much protective pads from Generation 8, which you know, it kind of gets rid of the negative effects from using contact moves. But it also kind of acts like the ability Iron Fist too, where it gives your punching based attacks a boost. So I would definitely run Jet Punch, and with that being said, I would also run the move Drain Punch for a little bit of extra health. So I think it's, yeah, 50% of the damage you deal. And then just to kind of boost that and all your attacking moves, I'd also run Bulk Up. So this Pokemon can just get really offensively powerful very quickly. You don't really need to give it much speed, or, well, you don't really need to give speed a whole lot of thought because of Jet Punch. Drain Punch is also a great fighting type option. And then to get it to change forms, you could use Kilowattrel, and you could also use this thing's move, Flip Turn. And Flip Turn is pretty much just a water type Volt Switch. You use Flip Turn, you swap out. You could even lead with this Pokemon, use Flip Turn, and then you have the hero form for the rest of the battle. So you could Flip Turn into Kilowattrel, use Volt Switch, and then bring this out pretty much for free. And yeah, and then it just goes crazy. I mean, especially with terastallizing in this game, you just do water, you just jet punch everything. You have 160 base attack. It's just probably the most powerful physical presence on this team for sure. So Palafin is a must to use in this game. Alright, so I know this team's already pretty bulky, but something that you just gotta use in this game is the new Pokemon Garganacl, or Garganical, whatever you want to call him. I don't really know what the correct pronunciation is, but either way, this thing is a beast, and it has this great new ability called Purifying Salt. So what this does is this Pokemon can't be statused at all, and it gets an extra resistance to ghost moves, which is insane. It's kind of on par with Goldango's ability, Good as Gold, which is just it's honestly pretty broken. This just walls everything. It's got this great new attack called Salt Cure. I made a whole video on how good this Pokemon is, and this move is a lot of the reason why. It deals 1/8 max HP every turn, on top of just a 40 power rock move that you use one time, and it doesn't go away. It doesn't wear off after a few turns. It stays until you switch out, and it does even more damage against steel types and water types, which really like to switch in to Garganical. So I mean, this with Purifying Salt, make sure you have this ability, don't use Sturdy. Purifying Salt is just way too good to pass up on. Use Salt Cure. You can use Iron Defense and just, that's really, yeah, you just use Iron Defense and Salt Cure, you just become unkillable. You Salt Cure, things just get chipped away and die. You use Recover, which is crazy because you can just stay in forever, and then while you're staying in, things are taking Salt Cure damage. And then not only that, this gets Body Press. So you just boost your defenses with Iron Defense while things are getting eaten alive by Salt Cure. You're recovering all the damage you're taking in the meantime, and then you just Body Press everything and win. And yeah, this guy's crazy. So I know we're adding some more bulk to the team, but Garganical, you need to use him. He's way too good. Alright, so the last member of the team, and I hate to add two Pokemon that are the same type, but it needs to be done. We need to add Annihilate to this team. So this Pokemon is a new evolution to Primeape, and it is Ghost and Fighting type. The only other Pokemon in the game with that typing ever made was Marshadow. So it's really cool to see this typing on a Pokemon that's not legendary. So why is this Pokemon so good? Why is it worth having two Ghost types on this team? And that is because of the move Rage Fist. So this move is kind of broken. Well, not even kind of broken, it's broken. It's way too good. So pretty much you start out at 50 base power, and every time this Pokemon is hit with any kind of move, it gains 50 more power, and I think it caps at like 350, 400. But I mean, if you're at that kind of base power, you're winning. There's just no way. But yeah, this move is super crazy. We got a fighting type on this team now. I'm not too worried about the ghost weakness because we have Garganical over here with Purifying Salt. So this doesn't really take ghost moves too seriously anyway, because we got the resistance here. We got Clodsire if we really need some additional support. So I mean, we're not too worried about the ghost weakness on this team, and this is just way too good not to use. So, the strategy here that I kind of was going for was we use Rage Fist as our primary move, and then we use that Fighting Stab and we pop on a Drain Punch. And pretty much the idea here is, you know, we'll get hit a few times, we'll just kind of get some health back with Drain Punch. We could maybe put some leftovers on this guy just so we can take more hits, power up that Rage Fist. We can just kind of pop a bulk up, increase those defenses. So we're bulking up, we're Drain Punching, we're Rage Fisting. This thing, it just, you know, if you can just tank a few hits, you can just Rage Fist everything and win the game. You could be super underleveled, just go into a gym with Annihilate, take a couple of resisted hits, and it's done. So, for the last move, if this were a competitive set, I'd say to run Rest and Defiant. But, Defiant's a hidden ability. You wouldn't really, you know, you wouldn't have access to that on an in-game team. I'd just run Ice Punch. You know, you get a little bit of coverage, take out flying types, take out, I don't know, I guess grass. It's nice to have Ice Punch in the back. And, yeah, Annihilate's just super broken. It's honestly, like, running 2 ghost types, I'm not even worried about it because Annihilate is, it's just that good. Its stats are incredible. It's got 110 HP, 115 attack, 90 speed's not even horrible. It's just really great, and the typing is fantastic. You could, you know, flip turn your Palafin, bring Annihilate out, just take the hit, or I mean, same thing with Volt Switch, and you just win with Annihilate. It's so good. And then, you know, if a ghost move's coming your way, you just pop on in your wall, Garganackle, and Salt Cure it, do your thing, take half damage because Purifying Salt is just phenomenal. And yeah, this just has great synergies with this team. And on top of that, I mean, if you reduce the damage with Will-O-Wisp and you're just taking burn physical hits, it's gonna do no damage to you. You just charge up that Rage Fist, get it to 1 billion base power, and you blow stuff up. I can't emphasize enough how good this Pokemon is. But anyway, if you're still watching up to this point, that's the video. We got Skeledirge, Fuecoco starter. You get Clodsire super early and a fantastic wall. You got Kilowattrel, you get this super early too. Just takes out all the water types that threaten your team. I mean, it's nice to have something that answers water when you have a Garganackle and a Skeledirge on your team. Palafin, this Pokemon was banned from OU in like a week and a half. So, I mean, if that speaks to how powerful this is, it's just, like, I can't think of a reason not to use this guy. Garganackle, it just doesn't die. This is your primary wall. It kills everything. I used it on my own team. It is so good. And then Annihilate, I mean, I think I talked about Annihilate enough. I'm sure you all are tired of me talking about it. But yeah, this, I think, is the best team to use in Scarlet and Violet. So thanks for watching up to this point. If you liked the video, please show it below with a like. Maybe subscribe if you want to, but I mean, don't feel pressured to. And let me know in the comments what you think of this team, what you would change, and how you're liking Scarlet and Violet so far. So thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.